1415. The fields of Agincourt. A deafening silence before the storm. 10,000 elite French knights, the cream of European nobility, clad in the finest steel of their time. They are the invincible war machine of the Middle Ages, a symbol of honor and absolute power. Each of their suits of armor is worth a fortune, and their lances can pierce any defense. Against them stand only mud, fatigue, and something history has never seen before. But let's change one detail. Imagine that instead of exhausted English archers, there is only one object standing at the other end of the field. It doesn't breathe, it knows no fear, and it makes a sound that knights would mistake for the death cry of the devil himself. 70 tons of American fury. The M1A2 Abrams SEP V3 tank, the deadliest ground-based predator in human history. Today we will answer the crazy question: can an entire army of legendary knights defeat a single steel beast from the future? Or will the 14th century witness technological genocide? Welcome to the Steel vs. Silicon channel. Fasten your seatbelts. History has just changed. Translated with deepl.com.
Before the carnage begins, let's take a look at what exactly we've sent into the past. The Abrams isn't just a tank, it's a computer on tracks, protected by layers of secret composites. It's the pinnacle of American engineering. Its armor is the steel of our name, but its brain is the silicon. The basis of its protection is a secret composite known as Chabum armor, reinforced with layers of depleted uranium. For a knight's sword or cavalry lance, this armor is like a rock to a toothpick. Even if 100 knights strike the same spot at once, they won't leave a noticeable scratch on the paint. Inside the Abrams beats a heart, an AGT 1500 gas turbine engine with a capacity of 1,500 horsepower. Unlike the diesel engines we are used to, it emits a high-pitched whistling sound, reminiscent of a jet plane. For people whose idea of loudness is limited to thunder and the neighing of horses, this sound will be paralyzing. The tank can race across rough terrain at a speed of almost 70 kilometers per hour. This is faster than any horse at a gallop, and the tank does not need a brake. But the main advantage is silicon intelligence. The fire control system allows the gunner to find targets at a distance of up to 5 kilometers. While knights see the world through narrow slits in their visors, the Abrams crew sees the battlefield on panoramic displays. Third-generation thermal imagers allow them to see the thermal radiation of every person and every horse. Fog, dust, or complete darkness are no obstacle for this tank. It sees a future that has not yet arrived for the knights. Now let's look at the steel side. 10,000 knights is a colossal force. That's thousands of tons of metal, discipline, and fury. They are used to being feared. They believe in their invulnerability. They have not only horses at their disposal, but also heavy siege weapons, ballistas, and early forms of catapults. In their world, these are absolute weapons. The distance is 3,000 meters. The knights are just beginning to line up in their famous wedges. The commander of the French army is confident of an easy victory. Before him is only one strange cart without horses. But inside the Abrams, the gunner has already locked onto the central command group. The laser rangefinder calculates the distance in a fraction of a second, even taking into account wind speed and air temperature. The first shot is fired. The 120mm M256 smoothbore gun spews flames. The shell leaves the barrel at a speed 5 times the speed of sound. To the knights, it doesn't look like a shot. It looks as if the earth itself in the center of their formation has exploded at the will of an angry deity. The high explosive shell turns the heavy siege tower, which hundreds of people have been building for weeks, into a cloud of splinters and dust in a single second. Shock is an understatement. The knights have never heard a sound that breaks the sound barrier. The supersonic wave hits their ears, disorienting both humans and animals. Horses, untrained for such a level of noise, begin to panic, throwing their riders. The formation, which was the pride of France, begins to waver. The knight commanders, showing incredible courage, order an attack. They believe it is magic, and if they can get to the sorcerer inside the iron box, they will win. Thousands of horses break into a gallop. The earth trembles under their hooves. It must be a magnificent sight, but for the Abrams crew, it's just a set of heat signatures on the screen. The gunner switches to the M240 twin machine gun. Here, we will focus not on losses, but on the tactical effect. Streams of tracer bullets, glowing in the air like lasers, cut through the space. The 7.62 caliber bullets easily pierce shields and breastplates, forcing the knights to realize that their armor, their pride and protection, is now no more effective than paper clothing. The tank begins to move toward the attackers. It doesn't just drive, it maneuvers. The gun stabilization system allows the Abrams to fire accurately on the move, at full speed. This sight robs the knights of their remaining sanity. A huge iron mountain rushes at them with a whistle, spewing fire, while its head, the turret, smoothly turns, selecting new targets like a living creature. Evening falls. The knights, having lost a significant part of their equipment and command, retreat to the nearest forest, hoping to regroup. They believe that night is their ally. In the Middle Ages, war subsided at sunset. They light fires, try to treat the wounded, and discuss tactics. They think that the Iron Demon will be blinded in the dark. But this is Silicon's moment of glory. Inside the tank, there is a strange, almost sterile silence, broken only by the hum of electronics. The crew turns on their thermal imaging cameras. On the screens, the night forest turns into a bright white field, where every living creature glows like a signal flare. The knights are clearly visible to them. Commander Abrams sees the officers gathering around a fire 3 kilometers away. The tank begins its night hunt. It moves slowly across the field, its headlights off. To the knights, it looks as if the darkness itself has begun to emit this ominous whistle. Suddenly, an M1028 cluster bomb flies out of the emptiness of the night. This is not an explosion in the usual sense. It is 1,100 tungsten balls that fly out of the barrel and turn everything in their path into a sieve. Tents, supply wagons, wooden fortifications, everything is destroyed instantly. The psychological effect of the night attack finally breaks the army's will. The knights begin to believe that they are not fighting against humans or machines, but against some kind of punishing force from which it is impossible to hide, even in the shadows of the trees. However, let's talk about limitations. This is an important part of any honest comparison. The Abrams is a god of war, but it has its earthly shackles. First, fuel. Its engine consumes almost 400 liters per 100 kilometers. If the battle drags on for several days of active maneuvering, the tank will turn into a stationary steel box. Second, ammunition. The tank has only 42 shells for its main gun. Machine gun belts are not endless either. If 10,000 knights possessed fanatical, superhuman willpower, they could try to surround the tank, pelt it with branches, cover its viewing devices with earth, or try to light giant bonfires under it. But we must take the human factor into account. In the 15th century, armies fled when losses reached 10% or when their leader was killed. Against the Abrams, panic would set in much earlier. Knights are warriors of honor. They are used to enemies they can see, understand, and, if they are lucky, pierce with their swords. But how do you fight an object that kills you 2 kilometers before you see it, that ignores your best blows, that sees you in the dark? By the middle of the next day, the battle would be over. Not because the tank destroyed all 10,000 men. That would not be necessary. The battle would end because the very concept of knighthood would be destroyed. Heavy cavalry, which had dominated the battlefield for centuries, would become meaningless overnight. And the tank crew? Inside, the air conditioning kept the temperature comfortable the whole time. They drank water, talked on the intercom, and watched the war through their eyepieces and monitors. For them, it was like an intense but predictable simulation. That's the main contrast: steel versus silicon. The brute physical strength and valor of the past versus the cold, calculating, and unattainable technological superiority of the future. In the end, one American Abrams would not only have won the Battle of Agincourt, it would have changed the course of human civilization. The knights who returned home would tell of the Iron Dragon, and the kings of Europe would forever abandon their attempts to build castles and forge armor, realizing that the era of steel was over, giving way to the era of silicon. What do you think? Would the knights have had even a single chance if they had known what they were up against? Perhaps they could have dug deep pit traps or used tactics of complete exhaustion. Write your tactical ideas in the comments below this video. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to subscribe to the Steel vs. Silicon channel.